Today we fight in the shadows, across the seas, and in the sky as we play the mod that completely overhauls China in Hearts of Iron 4. I wouldn't say vanilla is too terribly lacking in content for China, but the map isn't very accurate in vanilla HOI4, and the experience you can have as Japan or China or Indochina is pretty limited. Now this gives full focus trees to several of the nations in this area, including making French Indochina a proper puppet and giving them their own focus tree. But today we'll be playing as Sinkiang and fighting in this 8 years war. We'll be building up our industry and then dealing with our political situation too. We need to act quickly and integrate some lands before the big battle begins. But before we continue, quick word from the amazing sponsor of today's video, Age of Z Origins Tower Defense. As the name would suggest, the game features exciting, unique tower defense gameplay that I've happened to make a series on if you want to see that in more detail. That series has mainly been on the hard campaign mode, which has been exciting and adequately challenging, but there's also a normal campaign mode and an infinite zombies mode if you're looking for a different tower defense experience. There are also several other features in the game, such as cultivating titans, raising an army, and using that army in battles against zombies. Yes, towers aren't the only weapon you'll be using in this game. Age of Z Origins has a large emphasis on working with your alliance and becoming more powerful together as the game progresses, and the cooperation and competition that comes from that leads to a lot of fun. It's available for both iOS and Android, and there's a link in the description if you want to check out the game for yourself. It's really easy to get into, and I can highly recommend giving it a play. We also have different, more accurate leaders for Japan and Manchukuo, having the people who were actually in charge, you know, instead of the more puppet figures. And here we have an incident in Japan. These incidents will eventually spiral into us falling into conflict. Eventually. We'll try to get some better things on the production line before then. And our main priority will have to be either producing planes or a lot of anti-air, preferably making fighters though, because if we can eventually challenge them in the skies, that will give us the advantage we need to win this thing, and then, you know, win the conflict to follow that. So we're slowly conquering our neighbors through border wars. No real wars, just border conflicts over and over again. Other parts of China have had some actual conflicts, but they've all stopped, probably in anticipation for what's to shortly come here. So we'll have to expand as much as possible before that happens. We don't have much time though, and our military economy isn't very strong. Yeah, we won't be producing planes yet, but we have researched the fighter one, so I might try to put a couple factories on that. The only issue is we'd have to buy aluminum and rubber, and buying both of those is kind of an inconvenience. Maybe if we could take some aluminum, it would be better to just buy the rubber, but I don't think there's any aluminum anywhere. And now we're in a good situation where we can begin to expand beyond what territory we historically owned. Instead of the historical choice of preparing and pledging loyalty to China, we can do a preemptive strike and gain some more land around here. One of them is already pretty weak at war with the Chinese Soviet Republic, so we can easily defeat them. We still are being supported by the Soviets too for now, though that won't last forever. Well, I kind of have to lessen support and become a king. Who doesn't love a kingdom? I guess it's better than switching over to playing as the Soviet Union. I guess that'd be a fun video. You play as China for half the campaign, and then you're playing as the Soviets right before they get invaded. That's a good way to simulate not being ready. So this shouldn't be too difficult. They have a lot of divisions, but it'll take a while for them to move them to our border. We just don't want to end the war too soon, because I could end it right now, but that would be bad because then we wouldn't be able to take everything. The war score is close enough that we should be able to take everything if we are the ones who occupy the capital. Yeah, barely. I think it's just a technicality where it gives the player the #1 spot if they have the most war score. That was very close. But I'll gladly win by technicality. I won't complain about that. And as a result of our ahistorical actions, we're not in the big friendly alliance, the Chinese United Front. So I hope they do well. Technically speaking, several major nations, I think all the naval treaty nations, have their war goal against Japan, so if they wanted, they could attack Japan, but it doesn't look like they're going to. An interesting mechanic that's added to this too is a lot of historical, I guess, puppet states are formed by Japan as they invade. I only have played as Japan in this mod once in multiplayer, so I'm not 100% sure how things go, but it seems to help out a little bit. It's kind of annoying after the war because then you can't directly control as much territory, but during the battle it seems to help. And yeah, we won't be attacking anybody for a while now. They're all in the friendly group, besides a few nations over here. We'll probably sit around, build up for a while, try to get a good amount of fighter ones in the field, prepare to eventually fight Japan if China loses, which would kind of be a disaster. But if things get bad, we always have the join the USSR button. Or maybe not. I guess I kind of wish I didn't do this one focus here that's now gonna lock us out of doing that. I don't think there's a way we can do it since we did this focus and this focus. I don't think there's a way we can join the Soviet Union. Yeah, there's no path to it now. Oh well, it's okay. And now Japan has done it there, or with 2 factions. The US is doing War Plan Orange. I don't think we need to be worried about China falling now, hopefully. So now that we've officially started breaking ties with the Soviets, every month we get an event where they try to assassinate our leader, so that's not good. At least what is good is they're helping us fight Tibet here. We're maneuvering quite strategically and should be able to encircle the eastern part of their army and then maybe encircle this one division here. Regardless, once the eastern part falls, we should be able to outnumber them and push through. Also, a couple things I should mention probably is that we're playing in pre-No Step Back, so we have old supply system, but not quite old supply system because we have supply production health mechanic, which will go down or up depending on stability and your economy laws. So it kind of forces you to try to stay on civilian economy, which is now called business as usual. Keep high stability, otherwise wars become impossible. Like, I wish you could see how much Japan had, because I'm sure theirs is going to start becoming rather terrible soon. And while some of our neighbors are distracted with other conflicts, we're starting small border wars to slowly get more territory to the east. We've taken about everything that we can get to the west. I guess there's one neutral nation that we could still invade. They have a pretty massive fielded army, so that might not be a good idea, considering we only have a 1-tile border. Mexico has officially gone mad. They are declaring on everyone. This never goes well, but seems to happen too often. We are continuing to slowly pick away at more states to add to our growing empire. We still can't, actually switch ideologies though, till the Soviet Union has a specific number of casualties. I think 4.5 million. That might not happen ever. They're currently invading a lot of people in the Balkan Entente, which consists of Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Romania, Turkey, and Afghanistan. I would probably join them if I could do this focus. I guess I can just justify on the Soviets and join them in 45 days. Yeah, that might be worth it. And by some miracle, we're going to get the aluminum. We had a decision to develop the resource deposits here, so we'll finally get 12 aluminum to build our planes. We've been building planes for years with like 6-7 factories on them. We have 300 fighter ones out. It'd probably help out quite a bit if we could join the war against Japan. I guess we could just join and not join the faction. just by justifying. We'll have a border with Japan soon, maybe. Okay, so just so we're able to do this, I removed the requirements so that we could continue our political path without waiting 4 or 5 more years. So now we have to fight a civil war in our massive new territory. I guess we get to hold on to all this new stuff we conquered, so it's a pretty minor conflict. At least I had some guys in training. This should be okay though. And we're now non-aligned. Still same leader though. He was more so just a Marxist opportunist. And we can finally now join factions. Turkey wants us in their faction, but considering Brazil controls most of Turkey, I don't think that's a good idea. And I don't really know where to go from here. We could attack the Soviets, we could attack the Allies, we could attack China, or we could attack Japan. We can go in any direction we want. Every one of them doesn't have many possible avenues to gain too much. The best situation would be if we could attack the Soviets once Germany's at war with them, but who knows if that's even gonna happen. So I think we're just going to join China and push Japan out of mainland China. Oh, maybe I should have read that event more carefully. Yep, we've been annexed by China. I guess we can just observe China now that they have been revitalized. I'm sure they can win now. This is going to be easy for them, a piece of cake. And Italy is now at war with Greece, and Greece was in the Allies, so now Italy and Germany are aligned. Italy is pretty powerful today, but they will definitely lose. Africa as the Franco-British Union formed. I don't think I've ever seen it form ever before, and I don't think this mod makes it happen more often. I think it was just a random coincidence. But yeah, Churchill is pretty happy that now he rules all of France. Watching the AI play makes me cry. It makes me weep internally. They could just walk into all this territory. There's only one Japanese division here. It's really sad. They could also attack on the main front too. They have the advantage. They could push Japan out. Japan has taken way too many losses, but they don't. But that's, of course, not the fault of the mod. The mod is very good. It's also very fun in multiplayer too if you have some people play in China and then have someone play is Japan. It's very balanced, as you can see here. Even with us actively antagonizing China for most of the game, they were still able to hold on barely, and then of course in the end us joining them gave them quite the buff. There's a lot of stuff you can do, and there's unique focus trees for both Mongolia and Indochina too. And I should mention too that Japan has a reworked focus tree. It's kind of similar, but it's definitely not the vanilla focus tree as you can obviously see. Anyways, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. I'll leave a link to the mod in the description, but of course it's not updated to No Step Back, so you'll have to roll back your game if you want to play it, which is a possibility, but it's something I would recommend doing. Anyways, see you all next time.